We're moving on now, or moving back, I guess I should say, to these record highs in the stock market today. What a day. Our man on the markets, of course, is Doug Flynn, co-founder of Flynn Zito Capital Management. And Doug joins us now. So I think we're 3 days in a row now. We talked about it, this Nvidia, but it's been crazy, the run that the stock has been on. I said a few minutes ago before Bob came on that it was almost like years ago. It was like 10 years ago. Nvidia said this AI, this is going to be a big deal. We're going to start making chips for it, and they seem to get out ahead of everybody. And now the stock's out ahead of everybody. So what do you make of it? Can it continue?
It is. Well, and today's news kind of says to everybody, if you had any doubts that it was going to continue, it is going to continue. And our expectations, the market's expectations, they blew through. And further, as we talked about yesterday, they also released that the upcoming quarter is also going to be gangbusters. So they're already pre-stating that they're going to have another great quarter coming. But, a rising tide lifts all boats, and all the other AI companies also participated because this is showing that they've got a lot of room, and other companies will also be along for the ride as long as they can keep pace. But this is outstanding, the move that they made today, and clearly solidifies this company as the third most valuable company in the United States.
That headline from Yahoo tells a funny story, or an interesting story, the NASDAQ jumping with Nvidia igniting a global rally. It wasn't just us. It was all this stock averages in Europe, even Japan, where they lost a decade, literally, of whatever they used to call it that. They hit a record high today, and the first time since, I think, 89, or the high since 89 in the market there. Nvidia's market cap, so this kind of tells you the story about, I think we were talking about, there it is, the increase in market cap for Nvidia of $650 billion for a total valuation approaching $2 trillion. It might actually be over that. I'm not sure with the way it closed at the end, but it was like, I think it was $200 billion today. I mean, I don't think people can wrap their heads around those numbers, but it sounds like a frenzy. But again, to your point, if we might be also in the early days of AI. I mean, think about AI. I mean, I think it was late 2022, wasn't it, when the ChatGPT kind of came out and went public, at least for the public to know what it was. And that's only since then that kind of regular people identified AI as something that's kind of part of their lives. So maybe we're early days here, maybe.
It's as much as this has moved, and as much as valuations are clearly ahead of what normal would be, you have to almost think back to even the early days of the internet and all the opportunity that came out of that. There's going to be winners and losers, as there always is in an early stage of something over time. But clearly they're solidifying it. So we don't know what the next leg of this can be, and we don't even know all the applications that there are going to be with this. We're still at such an early stage. But a lot of that is built into the promise. But if they continue to grow on it, then, obviously there's more room here. And this is a great day for people in my business. Of course, we all have smiles on our face, because when you have a day like this, it's pretty hard to lose, because it really is sending the message that, no, there is a lot of room here. There is a lot of opportunity. Now it just has to happen. Now, on the other side, we are kind of priced for perfection. This has to continue to happen. Otherwise, we're going to have some setbacks. But that might be the opportunity. If you've missed this, as you've mentioned, when you might want to get in. You really didn't get a chance to buy anything today, because it opened up, and Nvidia opened up with such a pop.
Right.
It only moved another $1 or $2 from the open.
Yeah, we saw all that last night when we talked about it after the close, right at the end of our show. We mentioned that. So you have all the other big tech companies, whether it's Microsoft or Google, and all these other companies are Nvidia customers, but many of them are playing catch up in the chip game, going to start making chips in-house. So maybe there's other examples in technology where you have stocks you can make money on. And I'm struck by all of this happening the same week we had a headline that Amazon is set to join the 30 stocks in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which again speaks to, I guess, technology in our country and where we are.
Yeah, this is interesting, because what happens is it's for people that don't know, they may know that the S&P 500 is mostly the 500 largest companies by the size. So Nvidia being the third largest. But the Dow is 30 stocks, and it's based on the price of the stock. So weirdly, United Healthcare, that trades at $500 a share, is the largest position in the Dow at 9%. And Walgreens, which was $20 a share, it was like 0.3% of the Dow. So it really didn't move much. Now, the split of Walmart, which basically split the shares 3-for-1, means that suddenly on Monday, it's going to only represent 1/3 of the size that it was in the Dow. So the people that run the Dow Jones Average said, well, now we don't have enough in the consumer retail space. We need something to fill that. Well, what would fill that? And they chose Amazon. So even though you're doing an index, there are people behind the index that set what's in the index. But quick story today is if Amazon was in the Dow versus Walgreens today, that's going to happen after the close on Friday and before Monday, the Dow would be up even more than it was today. It was only up 1%. The S&P was up 2%. And part of that is the makeup that's in there.
NASDAQ almost 3%. But again, if Amazon was in the Dow, you'd have even more. Very interesting way of looking at it. And it, again, speaks to our modern economy that's your retail sector. Of course it is. We're all buying from Amazon. All right, Doug, thank you. Doug Flynn, as always, we appreciate it. Now, Doug Flynn, contrary to popular opinion, is not the richest man in America. This man is.